The clink of wine glasses sliced through the murmur of the restaurant, sharp as a blade. My fiancée, Claire, laughed across the table, her eyes catching the candlelight as she leaned toward her friend Sophie. Their words spilled out in rapid French, a private melody I wasn't supposed to understand. But I did. Every syllable. "Il tellement naïf," Claire said, her voice low, teasing. "He's so naive." My fork froze mid-air, a piece of seared scallop dangling, my chest tightening, as if the air had thickened in a tar. Sophie smirked, glancing at me, then back to Claire. "Tu es sûr tu il n'est de rain? Are you sure he doesn't suspect anything?" My pulse roared in my ears, drowning out the soft jazz humming from the speakers. I kept my face blank, my smile a fragile mask, as the world I'd built with Claire began to crack. We'd been together 3 years, Claire and I. She was the woman who'd made me believe in love again after a string of failures. Her sharp wit, her effortless charm, the way she'd curl into me on cold mornings, her breath warm against my neck. I'd learned French in college, a detail I'd never shared with her, not out of secrecy, but because it never came up. She'd assumed I was just another monolingual American, and I'd let her. Now, as their conversation unfolded like a script I wasn't meant to read, I wished I'd stayed ignorant. The restaurant's dim glow felt suffocating, the scent of garlic and rosemary cloying. I sipped my wine, the bitterness coating my tongue, and forced myself to chew, to nod, to play the part of the oblivious fiancée. Claire's laughter softened, but her words grew sharper. "Il pense que j'ai passé mes soirées à travailler tard. He thinks I'm working late." Sophie raised an eyebrow, swirling her glass. "Et Julien? Il devient impatient." And Julien? Is he getting impatient? The name hit like a punch. Julien, her co-worker, the one with the easy smile and lingering glances I dismissed as harmless. My mind raced, replaying moments I'd brushed off. Claire's late nights at the office, her phone angled away when she texted, the faint scent of cologne on her scarf that wasn't mine. I told myself it was nothing, that trust was the foundation of us. But now, each memory felt like a splinter under my skin. I set my fork down, the clatter louder than I'd intended. Claire's eyes flicked to me, her smile faltering for a fraction of a second before she recovered. "You okay, Ben?" she asked in English, her voice sweet, practiced. I nodded, my throat tight. "Just savoring the food." I lied, my voice steady despite the storm inside. Sophie's gaze lingered on me, assessing, before she returned to her wine. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but I couldn't. Not yet. I needed to know more, to hear the extent of their betrayal before the mask I wore shattered. The waiter refilled our glasses, oblivious to the tension coiling around the table. The restaurant buzzed with life, couples laughing, silverware clinking, the hum of conversations blending into a dull roar. But for me, it was just Claire's voice, her French now careful, as if she sensed the air had shifted. "Il est tellement devout," she said, her tone mocking. "He's so devoted." Sophie chuckled, but there was unease in her eyes, a flicker of doubt. Did she suspect I understood? My fingers gripped the stem of my glass, the cool crystal grounding me as I fought to keep my expression neutral. Inside, I was unraveling. How long had this been going on? Was Julien the first, or just the latest? I thought of the ring in my dresser, the one I'd planned to give her next month during our trip to Paris. I'd imagined her face lighting up, her arms around me, the future we'd build. Now, that image twisted into something grotesque, tainted by her words. Naive, devoted. The adjectives stung, each one a betrayal of the man I thought I was to her. I wanted to believe I'd misheard, that this was a misunderstanding, but the clarity of her voice, the casual cruelty of it, left no room for denial. I pushed my chair back, the scrape against the hardwood floor jarring. "Need some air," I said, my voice clipped. Claire's brow furrowed, but she nodded, her hand brushing mine, a touch that once felt like home, but now burned. Outside, the night air was crisp, the city's pulse loud with honking cabs and distant laughter. I leaned against the brick wall, my breath shallow, my mind a battlefield of rage and grief. Part of me wanted to storm back inside, confront her, let the truth spill like wine across the table. But another part, quieter, more desperate, clung to the hope that I was wrong, that she still loved me. Back at the table, Claire's demeanor had shifted. She spoke in English now, her French abandoned, as if she sensed the danger of her earlier words. "You sure you're okay?" she asked, her eyes searching mine. I nodded, forcing a smile, but my heart was a clenched fist. Sophie excused herself to the restroom, leaving us alone. The silence stretched, heavy with unspoken truths. I could have confronted her then, could have let the words pour out. "I heard you. I know about Julian." But something held me back. I needed more than her confession. I needed to understand why. The rest of the dinner passed in a blur. Claire's laughter felt forced now, her glances at me laced with something I couldn't name. Guilt, perhaps, or fear. Sophie returned, her smile tight, and the conversation stayed safely in English, surface-level chatter about work and weekend plans. I played along, my responses mechanical, my mind elsewhere. I was piecing together the fragments of her betrayal, each one cutting deeper. The late nights, the guarded phone, the way she'd pull away when I tried to hold her too long. When we left the restaurant, Claire slipped her arm through mine, her warmth a cruel reminder of what we'd had. "I love you," she whispered, her breath warm against my cheek. I wanted to believe her, to let those words erase the poison I'd heard, but they felt hollow now, like a song played out of tune. At home, she fell asleep quickly, her breathing soft and even, while I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The ring in the dresser felt like a weight, a symbol of a future that no longer existed. The next morning, I found her phone on the counter, unlocked, a notification from Julian glowing on the screen. "Meet me tonight. Usual place." My heart stopped, then surged with a clarity I hadn't felt in months. I didn't confront her. Instead, I waited, followed her that evening to a dimly lit bar across town. There, through the window, I saw them, Claire and Julian, their hands entwined, her laughter brighter than it had been with me in weeks. The sight broke something inside me, but also set me free. I left before she saw me, the ring still in my pocket, no longer a promise, but a reminder. I'd loved her with everything I had, but she'd gambled that love away, assuming I'd never understand her secrets. As I walked into the night, the city's pulse matching my own, I realized the truth. She didn't know me at all.